Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
Hey everyone. Okay, so I promised that I would do a podcast on my favorite, I don't know if it's my favorite, maybe just people I like inside of chiropractic, people I like inside of marketing and management inside of chiropractic. I've had the ability over the last 2 years to really kind of see behind the curtain. So I kind of posted this. Here's the whole story. So I posted this on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I think I should do an episode on this because it was a little triggered actually. Because I see some of these lists and I'm just like, wow, you know, these lists of like top 10 chiropractic marketers, top 10 chiropractic management gurus, or I don't know, whatever the F list is. And I've actually even been included on some of those lists, but it's usually there's some sort of strings there. There's something attached to that, right? And so that triggers me a little bit. And I've always, you know, thought about and seen and strived, you know, inside of the Chiropractic Philanthropist to be, you know, I call myself kind of like the Switzerland of podcasts here. So I don't really have any favorites. I just, you know, there's people that I like, people that I trust, and that I feel are truthful and honest, and those are the people that I'm going to talk about today. Now, this doesn't mean, by the way, that someone who isn't on this list is not truthful, honest, or whatever the, you know, qualifications there to make this list, that, you know, there aren't those people out there. I don't know everyone, right? And this is clearly just my opinion. This is clearly just my list. All right, you ready? Because I know I've been getting messages on Facebook like, Ed, when are you going to drop this list? Okay, so here we go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is marketing inside of chiropractic. And some people call me a marketer, and I guess I am a marketer. I'm not going to say I'm one of my favorite people, by the way. Just hold up. I'm going somewhere with this. Some people say that I'm a marketer, but you know, there's really true marketers out there. And one of the true marketers that I see is Tristan Schaub of Chiro Sushi. So if you have not been following Tristan, you definitely should be. I mean, what they have created with Chiro Sushi in such a short amount of time has been pretty outstanding. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was a little triggered by Chiro Sushi at first. Like seriously, like I can't tell you how many times I was added to that Facebook group that they have, like a free Chiro Sushi free group. I was probably added like 4 or 5 times that I would get added, and then I would remove myself. Then someone would add me and I would remove myself because I was just like, hey, what is this group about, right? I mean, has anyone ever experienced that where you're added to a free group and you're like, what the F is this about? And so I kept doing that, and then finally, like I started actually following these guys. I started actually communicating and had a dialogue with Tristan and with Dan. I think it's Dan Golden, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I can see they're actually trying to build something here. Like they're actually, and what I've seen, and I'm sure that if you're following Tristan as well or Chiro Sushi, what I've seen is a massive amount of value that they have created, and for very little exchange over the last 2 years. Like hardest working people, you know, hardest working crew truly in marketing in chiropractic and providing value. Now, here's what I suggest you do is you start, if you're not following Chiro Sushi, if you're not going to even be at the Chiro Sushi Summit, or you're not signed up for Chiro Sushi Summit, which I think is June 21st in Vegas, you got to get your ass there. Here's the thing is, so I'm going to be speaking, but I'm excited because it's actually the only speaking engagement I'm going to do this year. I had a couple other ones and I canceled them because it was kind of incongruent with what I teach. You know, I teach how to have a presence online, create movements and brands, and then how to monetize those. And being in a group of people who teach the opposite of that it's just simply not congruent. So this is the only place that I'm going to speak this year. I love what they're doing. I love that they're pushing and pulling chiropractors into the digital age and bringing people like Brian Tracy, Tom Biglio. I mean, like these are people who are incredibly successful entrepreneurs that chiros can learn from. Not just the typical ask grab chiropractic conference seminar where you go and you see all the same people. That is not what it's about. So that's why I love it. It's for chiropreneurs, it's for entrepreneurs. I love what they're doing. Okay, so number one, chiropractic marketing, that is my number one go-to. Now, are you ready for number two? Number two is Russell Brunson. Yes, I am a little biased because I am part of the inner circle with Russell's crews. I think there's like 159 people in that inner circle. And it's like, look, we these people are badass online entrepreneurs. But here's the thing is that there are so many chiropractors that can learn so much from what Russell is teaching. It's not just about funnels, it's about marketing. So I'm going to put links to all of these people, by the way, inside of this podcast. You got to check it out. If you do not have the book Expert Secrets, if you do not have the book .com Secrets, you need to invest in yourself by getting those books. That's step one. If you're not using ClickFunnels as a way to attract new patients, to communicate and nurture new patients, possibly opt-ins, there's so many things that you can learn from Russell. I mean, this is a man who's created 150 million in sales in, I think it's just even the last 2, maybe 3 years. So imagine what you could learn from someone like that, from a man who is completely transparent and straight up, he's just a good dude. He's just a good dude. Family man. Again, this is my list of people that I believe in. Okay, so Russell, clearly, yeah, there's some strings attached because I'm in IC, but I love that stuff, Tristan. So, here, I'll put the caveat down is that some of these people, yeah, I'm speaking at that engagement, but honestly, I have nothing to gain by throwing this stuff out here. Okay, so number 3 in chiropractic marketing is Chad Woolner. So Chad, Dr. Chad Woolner, what is his brand? It's something like Chiro Funnel Secrets or something something like that. Sorry, Chad. So I like Chad's stuff, but more importantly, I like Chad. Like if you can sit down with someone for dinner and you walk away and you didn't just talk about business, but you talked about your family, you get a real true sense of who they are. And they're not in it for the cash. They're not deceiving anyone. And in fact, they're actually helping a lot of chiropractors. And they're helping a lot of chiropractors in a way where they're not, like, docs aren't getting ripped off by these marketers who are locking them in for these, multiple thousands of dollars that they have to invest inside of their marketing every month. And a lot of that stuff is just bullshit. It doesn't even work. So I like Chad's stuff. If you were to ask me right now, Ed, what does Chad do? I will tell you honestly, I really don't know. I know he has some live events. I know he has a live event coming up where he helps docs build out funnels. But specifically, the funnels are to grow your practice. So I will drop the link for Chad. Okay, next. And by the way, some people might go, "Hey, isn't Chad and what you do, like, aren't you guys kind of in competition or something?" Here's the thing is, I don't really believe in competition, and plus the other part of this is I do not work in the space of creating funnels for new patients or building practices. I build online businesses for doctors, so that's completely different. So let's go to management. I want to go to management. So here's what, this could be a short list. Here we go. So Dr. Charles Francis, Integrated Freedom. So Dr. Charles Francis, Integrated Freedom. This dude, I mean, in the last 6 to 8 months, it could be a year now. Yeah, it's been a year, almost a year, that I have seen and watched Dr. Charles. I mean, he's one of those docs who are kind of under the radar. He has almost like a boutique style coaching and mentoring. He is literally creating millionaires of these docs who he's working with. Like it blows me away, because there's a lot of management companies out there that are going to tell you that, and that the investment inside of what they're doing is going to be horrendous. But with Dr. Charles, I mean, literally there's docs who are messaging, and I mean, because he and I talk often, he's like, dude, I got docs doing like over 100K a month. So it's not about the money, by the way. It's about the measurement of success of what these doctors are doing and the value that they can provide their community when they're actually successful. Being the most successful chiropractor in your community means something. It means something. So I really like Dr. Charles. I'm going to drop the link for Integrated Freedom in here. Again, boutique style. This dude, you got to check him out. You got to follow him. Now here's someone who is not actually in management. His name is Dr. Paul Reed. So Dr. Paul Reed, I don't believe he actually even mentors chiropractors yet, and I don't even know if he ever will. He's got multiple practices, hyper successful entrepreneur, but he's heart-centered. Every conversation I've ever had with Dr. Paul has always been heart-centered. Like, dude comes from the heart. So I don't think he does management, but I wanted to throw it out there because he has an event called ChiroFest, and the ChiroFest is in September. And now I won't be there, but ChiroFest is it's a heart-centered project for him. I know that sometimes these events that people put on, especially like we attend them, we get value, but we don't really see behind the scenes. I know what it takes to create and to put on an incredible event for people, and Dr. Paul does this, and I know the time and the energy, the effort, plus the financial investment that he puts into that. And again, it all comes from heart-centered. It's not a monetary thing. So if you're not following Dr. Paul, I know that he's also started a page on Facebook, which is like Dr. Paul Reed. It's like a public figure page, and he's doing Facebook Live videos, and I've been kind of following his stuff there too, in terms of just mentorship, in terms of like 4 core domains of including finance, but fitness and so on. So I would recommend, I'll drop the link for Dr. Paul and also ChiroFest here for you. Let's continue here. All right, so I like Dan Bay. Dan Bay, Close for Chiro. And I think it's Dr. Sean Rundle. I think that's his name, Dr. Sean Rundle. So here's why I like Close for Chiro. I like a comeback fucking story. So if we're being transparent here, I know that he got the short end of the stick. He got shafted, by some people here in our profession, and we don't need to go into the whole backstory of that. But I mean, am I the only one who's really willing to even talk about this shit? So I get massive respect for Dan. I also see the massive amount of value that he provides, and I don't think I've ever really seen anyone say anything bad about about an experience inside of Close for Chiro. Sure, I've seen chiropractors, kind of attack or hate on some of their marketing, because it's like, hey, how to do sales for chiropractors, right? Which, by the way, we all need to learn. And so yeah, there's some chiros that are, they're not gonna like that, so they're gonna go off on that. But I've never seen anything that comes out that's like, look, what they're teaching is actually not of value. In fact, I know that they've saved a lot of practices. I know that they've saved a lot of practices, because what they're teaching in Close for Chiro, like if you go to one of their events over a weekend, and again, I don't really know all of it, I just know the people. It's saving practices. It's going to help you actually help more people. I certainly like their marketing as well. If you ever want to follow someone who's building, some real traction on social media, follow their marketing. So I'm going to do a little bit of a who to watch, because that's pretty much the end of my list. So I'm going to do a who to watch. Dr. Brent Tieri. Dr. Brent Tieri just launched a podcast called Life Outside the Hustle. I love the branding. I mean, if there is a dude who executes flawlessly, this is the doc. So you got to check out his podcast. It just dropped. It's called Life Outside the Hustle. Follow Dr. Brent on Facebook or social media, because he drops and he markets this, and it's in its infancy, but this is going to be massive. I also love the concept of having a life outside the hustle. Like, part of the reason why I follow Dr. Brent is because, like, dude, teach me. How can I have a life outside the hustle? Because I feel like I'm hustling all the time. In fact, I'm hustling right now. Like, I'm hustling to get home after dropping my son at daycare. Then I'm going to head down to the office. I got calls all afternoon, and I feel like I'm in the constant hustle. So it's like, teach me. I also know he has like a hustle detox, which is kind of cool, 7-day detox. But if you want to watch someone and observe also someone who is executing flawlessly on creating a movement and a brand, follow Dr. Brent. Okay, people to watch, Dr. Carrie Sigafus. So Dr. Carrie has a podcast, and his podcast, what is it called again? Sigafus. Oh gosh, I can't even remember. Sig Talks. Bam, got it. So is it Sig Talks? I think so. Yeah. Anyways, his podcast, he's been out podcasting for almost 2 years. Dr. Carey is another one of those docs who you can trust, because he comes completely from the heart and from a place of purpose. Like, if there's one person out there in our profession who has built something, with just from pure heart-centered, it's Dr. Carey. So if you're not listening, following his podcast, maybe investing inside of his, I think he has a closed Facebook group. You might want to consider that. I think that's pretty much the end of my list. That is the end of my list. So let's see. I was gonna go off on like who not to follow. That would be a whole other podcast, wouldn't it? That would be a whole other podcast. Oh, actually here. So I do have a little bit of a list of here's what to watch. So if you're on social media, here's the stuff I've seen. So here's what to have your radar out there for. So lying, these are the things that drive me nuts. Lying, false claims, people who are teaching you how to build your business, but also your family life, yet they're divorced or they've lost their freaking chiropractic license. Like, I mean, I it blows my mind that, we'll invest inside of people who have lost their license. Like, is that insanity? Like, we'll invest our marketing dollars inside of people who are teaching you how to launch a podcast, but they've never launched a podcast. We'll invest our marketing dollars inside of people who will show you how to create a funnel, and they've never built a funnel in their life. So there's people like myself, like Chad Wollner. There's people like, I should say like myself, who have built and continue to be in the trenches of building funnels. So there's people that trigger the F out of me that are completely incongruent. I was kicked out of a program, a chiropractic management program, simply because I wanted to use a specific modality in my office. They kicked me out of the program, and then these guys were Ontario-based, Ontario, Canada, and not only did they kick me out, they kicked my wife out, and they're like, "Hey, brother, we love you. We'll always love you." And then They hated on us. It was crazy. Like the incongruency runs so deep sometimes inside of, like, what I want you to do, Doc, and this is probably one of the most honest and real and raw episodes of the Chiropractic Philanthropist, and I may actually even lose some subscribers from this podcast, is look, just keep your radar up. Like, keep your radar up of what's truthful and what's not truthful. A couple of the other things that drive me crazy are mission trips for profit. Like these mission trips to go help, people in Dominican or whatever, like to bring chiropractic, the light of chiropractic to others. And these people who are running it, and they're doing it for profit. That drives me nuts. These Bitcoin people promoting Bitcoin. And I posted something the other day about this Bitcoin stuff, and someone was like, hey man, I've made like $20 million. I'm like, great, good for you. Because what I'm hearing is there's docs who have lost almost their homes because they took out, an extra mortgage on their house so they could invest inside Bitcoin, and then things went south based on the recommendations of someone who just basically did a couple Google searches and became a Bitcoin expert, although they're probably a marketing expert in chiropractic as well. Marketing companies that hold your content hostage. Run as fast as you can away from a company that holds your content hostage. So here's the thing is, like, I get on calls with people who want to work inside of, like, be part of Laptop Lifestyle community. However, we can't get access to their content because the marketing company they're using currently has locked everything down. So like if they stop paying them, they actually shut off their YouTube channel, shut off their podcast, shut off their Facebook page. They take all of their content away. So you're basically chained to these people. Can you imagine? So this is something I just feel like, look, not only is it like, I don't even know if it's freaking legal. I guess you're signing a contract, but come on, like, run away. And then the last thing I have here is people with that are not posing new opportunities. I don't even know how that makes sense. I must have been tired when I wrote this. So I'll strike that one out. So I'm gonna do this. So Doc, what you're gonna need is to go to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. I'm gonna have links to all of these people. So links you can follow all of these people, whether it's they have a podcast, whether it's they have a website, whether it's on social media. Follow these people. You can trust them. Now, we will also include in the show notes today the links to these people as well, to each one of these people that I've mentioned. All you have to do is go ahead and open the show notes. Inside the show notes, you'll find the links. You can directly link and follow or listen to their podcast, sign up for whatever their offers might be. Whew. Wow. I think I'm going to put myself in the TCP time machine right now and to kind of wrap up this call. So how does it go for TCP time machine? So we're gonna take me. I'm gonna take myself. I'm gonna put myself in the TCP time machine. I'm gonna send myself back to when I graduated from chiropractic college. So like, what was that, like 16 years ago? I have all the knowledge, life experience that I have today. What would you tell to your younger self? What would you say to your younger self? What would the recommendation be? What would the recommendation be I give to myself? Here's the recommendation. It's twofold. Number one, get a mentor. Like, don't try and figure this stuff out on your own. Like, if you're struggling right now, Doc, I just gave you a list of people who can help you. I gave you a list of people you can trust inside of the chiropractic profession, because God knows we need more of them. So number one, get a mentor. Number two, know that when you invest inside of yourself in mentorship, so this is number two, is that it appreciates. Every time that you invest inside of yourself, you are appreciating. It is an appreciable, is it appreciable a word? Yeah, investment. Cars, money, jewelry, vacations, those depreciate. I'm not saying there's never a time for those. But I want you to consider where you are inside of your life and business today. Do you have currently what you want inside of your life and business today? And if not, what do you need to do? Number one, is it get a mentor? And number two, is it start to invest because you're worth it? You see, so many people ask me, so many doctors, they'll say, Ed, how did you change your life? How did you change the direction and recreate your life in the last year? How did you do that? How did you take your business from broke and broken to where you're doing multiple six figures in 3 different businesses, 7 figures in one business in just 2 years? And it comes down to this. I wish I could say it was me and I'm like this really incredible genius, but it's not. I just hired the right people. That's it. See, if you hang around with, even if you have to pay, but if you hang around with people who are brilliant, people who are ultra hyper successful, people who are willing to help you, then it rubs off on you. Success leaves clues. I'll throw all the cliches out there. Success leaves clues. Success rubs off on you. I mean, you cannot not experience results when you are around those people. You want a race to the bottom? Hang around with broke people. You hang around with 4 broke people, you will be broke. That's straight up truth. All right. This was a great podcast. I'm really interested to see what kind of reaction we get or how many listens let me know what your response is to this podcast. Again, head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. We'll have a page dedicated to our discussion with all the links as well. I want to thank you for tuning in, Doc, and for listening to the Chiropractic Philanthropist and following us. I appreciate you. Peace out.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.